Hey, this is John Williams coming to you from my home office in Henderson, Nevada. I'm so glad you're tuning in. I'm a one-star presidential director with GIA Wellness, and I'm part of Wireless Safety, GIA Moms on a Mission. And I'm so glad that I have today with us a very special, well, I guess more like a grandma on a mission now, Caren Knott from Santa Clarita, California. She's an executive director with GIA Wellness, and today we're gonna listen to Caren tell us her story about why she got involved with GIA and why she's so passionate about where she's going with this company and what we are all going to do as a team. So Caren, welcome. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. I'm good. Happy to be here.
I'm glad you're here too. I've been wanting to do this for so long. I mentioned you're a grandma. Can you tell us a little bit more about how many times and what's going on with that?
I have three beautiful granddaughters. Ashley's 10, Lexi is 8, and Katie is 4. So they keep this grandma running at least for the 2 days a week that I have them. So greatest joy in my life.
Well, I know it is. I love to see your pictures on Facebook and the way you share the joy that you have with your grandkids. And I think it's got to be pretty special being a part of GIA, knowing what we're doing for the children in the world and families out there. What I want to do today, if you could you tell us the story about why you joined GIA? How did what happened? What came about to make this all happen?
Well, the story probably starts about 15 years ago. I was just doing life. My husband and I were empty nesters at the time. We had multiple businesses. Actually, 15 years ago, the kids were already gone. So just, going through life like most people. And then kind of out of the blue, our whole family, we have a really big, close family, was blindsided. I had a family member that had been struggling with significant health issues, but nobody could diagnose it. So when the time it was finally diagnosed as brain cancer, it was like the diagnosis came one day and they were being wheeled into surgery the next morning. It was like life-threatening. So 14 of us, I think, were sitting in a waiting room the morning before surgery, just completely in shock. And Dr. Keith Black, her surgeon, came out and sat with us. And so you can imagine 14 of us, because we didn't have months to process what was going on. So it was like, how could this happen? Was she born with this? How can we have stopped this? And I remember clearly then him saying, I don't know what caused it, but get those cell phones away from your head. And so I always say to people, if you think what your phone was like 15 years ago versus the computers that we hold in our hands today, and all of us, I think in that room, we'd never heard anything like that. And it was just this, really, there's something wrong with our phones? And so that just put me on a path, not only to start to learn about EMF exposure, but what other toxins were we being exposed to that maybe we could take a more proactive approach in our health. But there wasn't really anything we could do at the time. So when I came upon GIA and found that, it was like this, oh my gosh, this is it. I came across it doing a fundraiser walk for another person who had brain cancer. And there was this booth and I was just like, this is it. So I was just all in, researched everything about the company. And I have been all in ever since and just completely passionate about, we have something nobody else has, and the problem's getting bigger every day, but we have the solution.
I can remember, I think it was the first time I met you. I think it was at a GIA event. And for some reason, I think Palm Desert or something like that. I'm not sure. You were sitting in the back of the room, and I think you were with your brother at the time, and you were just getting started. Mm-hmm. Here we are so many years later, and I know that because of your passion about GIA and the story you just shared, you've impacted, thousands and thousands and thousands of people over the last few years by building your GIA team, by introducing people to a way that they can thrive in the wireless age. And some of those people are just using our products, and others have joined us to help share the good news with other families. And I'm curious to know, recently we started the Wireless Safety GIA Moms on a Mission, and we already have over 500 people on a private Facebook page who are out now telling other people. How do you feel about that?
I'm beyond excited because, in a world where there's a lot of different opinions on a lot of different things, the one thing we can all agree on is we love our children, we love our grandchildren, and it's not just exclusively moms, obviously, but there's just this enormous love that you would do anything for your kids and your grandkids. So when we realize the enormity of the toxin we're being hit with, and that we literally have the only patented solution, how can we keep quiet? I mean, it's just, we need to speak up, and people will make their own decisions, but we need to take accountability for what we know, and do we share it or not?
Mm-hmm. Well, there's something happening right now it's not just with GIA, it's really across North America and around the world. There's a brand new documentary that's being released, and we have the opportunity to kind of do a pre-release and show the video to folks around the country. And you just watched it for the first time last week, I believe it was, at corporate headquarters. And can you tell everybody the surprise that you saw? First of all, give us an impression of what you feel about the documentary, and then tell us about that surprise moment.
Well, of course, I knew I wanted to host a Generation Zapped screening, because I just knew how, just from the trailer, I mean, it's like you just know you got to get this information for yourself and for everyone else. But going down to corporate last week and literally seeing the entire documentary in its entirety, I was blown away by everything, the wealth of information, but also featured in the documentary, one of the doctors they speak with is Dr. Keith Black, who was my niece's neurosurgeon 15 years ago, who brought me to where I am today. I doubt I would be in GIA, or at least it might have taken me many years longer, but him saying those words 15 years ago, get those cell phones away from your head. And so for me, in that moment, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is kind of like it came full circle.
Well, what I think right now is that we have this opportunity, those of us who are part of GIA, who've had the passion about getting the word out, and now reaching out through moms, and you said it's not just moms, but it's anybody who cares about children, and rallying them together to at least join the movement that we're creating. And many of those people will join GIA, and they'll help to expand our company, and they'll expand the opportunity for us to get these solutions into people's homes. And I think it's just it's the greatest time to be a part of something so significant. And I'm sure you agree with that, right?
I do. I just feel like everything is just lined up. The information is getting out more and more, and we have the solution, and there's just never been a better time to join, in my opinion, the best company in the world. It changes people's lives in every single way. It changes their health, it changes their emotional, reduces the emotional stress, it changes their financial picture if they choose to. There's something here for everybody, and probably most importantly, the health of our children. It's right here in our hands.
I totally agree with you. And the last thing I want to ask you is that if there was a mom watching this, or a grandma, or a dad, or someone who really cares about kids, what would you suggest they do right now?
I would suggest, if you have a means to see an Generation Zap documentary before it comes out, I would encourage them to do that, but also encourage them to, however they got a hold of this interview, get a hold of someone that can just share the information with you, because it is information that can save someone's life that you love.
Well, Caren, I'm glad we were finally able to do this. Appreciate you for joining me today. Hope you have a great rest of your weekend.
I shall, and you do the same.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Bye.